Happy?
Start it.
Who is this joker?
Sorry, I just need.
It's Adam!
Sorry.
Of all people.
I can't get through.
Adam.
Boltwood, man.
Boltwood, man.
Start filming.
Yeah, we're filming.
Yeah, you're live.
You're live.
You're live on
What are you
Facebook.
doing to my curtain?
You're live on Facebook. How this is Adam Boltwood, legend.
Adam, you've got to come in now.
Hello.
How you doing?
Sorry, I'm gonna step out.
Okay, thanks for your help, Ad. So I'll sort the curtain out, don't worry. He's a Tottenham fan as well. He knows what he's doing, doesn't he? He's definitely at us.
Scumbag, man.
Right. Should we go?
Let's do it.
We're going. Welcome to CFC Fan TV. I'm delighted to be joined by the one and only Charlie the Hurricane Skillen from the Mail Online.
How you doing, Rob?
I'm good. I'm glad that the international break is over. I'm glad that
thank
Premier
God
League
for
football
that,
is
yeah.
nearly back with us.
I'm nervous though, you know.
Huge, isn't it?
Huge game.
Doesn't it?
Biggest
Really
game of the
doesn't.
season.
It doesn't get bigger than Tottenham at home. It's going to be massive. I mean, it's a massive
wait.
game anyway. But when you consider the jeopardy that's at stake, it's a playoff, isn't it, for the top four?
Yeah.
At least from our point of view.
Well, look, it's always our biggest rival. It's taken on even more spice in the last few years, if that were possible. I mean, growing up, Tottenham was kind of always the team I wanted to beat the most. But yeah, I can't wait. I'm already catching myself having it be all I think about.
I know.
When I'm kind of. Not doing
I know.
anything else.
It's really exciting. But we've decided to answer your questions. The questions have gone out on. We've asked you for your questions on Instagram and on Twitter. So thank you so much for getting them in. We've picked a few and we're going to do our best to answer them now. The first question that's come in, I think this one came in via Instagram. So make sure you're following us on there if you're not already. And the question is, what is our lineup versus Spurs? And then a second part of the question, Hazard false nine.
No, certainly not. I think the only time Hazard being like a false nine, as he wants to call it, has worked over the past few months is Barcelona at home. And whilst that did work very well, I think the overwhelming evidence would suggest that it's not a good idea. I'd probably play Morata. Obviously, he scored against Leicester. I haven't been the biggest fan of him this season, as you well know. But I think, seeing him get a goal, I think we should put faith in him to start the game. I'd like to see Hazard in his best position, which I feel is on the left-hand side.
Okay. What about central midfield?
Oh, God.
Kante.
Okay, well, clearly. I think Kante is arguably our most important player at this point. I can see Bakayoko playing, actually. I know he was woeful against Leicester, but I just think their midfield is so physical. You've got players like Dembele. I think they'd run Fabregas ragged if Fabregas was to start. So for that reason, I think...
You don't think he could start in a three?
Well, they could, but obviously that necessitates dropping...
Pedro.
William,
yeah.
which isn't going to happen. I mean, William's our most effective player at the minute. So no, I want to see 3-4-3. I think that's been our most successful formation, and I think, as poor as he's been, I think Bakayoko played very well against Tottenham at Wembley in the first few weeks of the season, and I think he'll get the nod.
Very interesting. Our next question is in, and this one was on Twitter, so also thank you so much for getting it in. The question is simply, will we keep Michy Batshuayi? I think he hopes so. I think that's why. I mean, he's been ridiculously impressive for Dortmund. Their fans love him.
Their fans love him. He had a real difficult time at Chelsea. I am seeing some sort of revisionism, on Twitter and whatever, saying, "Oh, we should have kept him. He'd be brilliant." I mean, he was poor a lot when he was at Chelsea. He was poor a lot. I think he really picked up in the weeks before we sold him, and he's had a great time on loan. And I think, he can be an asset for Chelsea in the future. I'm certainly interested to see how he gets on at Chelsea next season. And for that reason, I hope we do keep him, and I think we will. Certainly, I think the club see him as an asset. I don't think Conte was the biggest fan, and I don't think that's going to be an issue next season. I think we will keep him. What do you think?
I'd like to see him return. I just think he's a natural goal scorer, and I appreciate that there are flaws in his overall game, but he really does know how to put the ball in the back of the net, and a lot of the time that's all you need.
Yeah, I mean, look, he scored some crucial goals for Chelsea, despite not getting very much action.
That sort of a goal scorer is worth their weight in gold as well. That sort of poacher in the box. Do you remember Arsene Wenger was always after a fox in the box?
Yeah, Francis
Jeffers, yeah. But it would be crazy to let a player with that eye for a goal leave.
Yeah, and it's also what we lack. I mean, we've had real trouble scoring from those positions. I mean, if you take Willian out of the equation, I think we've struggled for goals since the turn of the year. You know, those goals out of nothing.
Morata's got one, hasn't he?
Yeah, those goals where when we're not particularly playing well, and I think that's what Batshuayi does provide.
In a similar vein, the next question that's coming is: should Tammy Abraham be given a chance?
In an ideal world, no. This is being very selfish because it's ideal for Chelsea rather than the player. I'd like to see him have a second season on loan to a Premier League club. I think he's been very good in fits and starts for Swansea, but nothing that would make me think that he's going to get the game time that he needs to progress if he was part of Chelsea's squad next season. So yeah, I mean, I always think it's best for these players to play, and if that can be as high a level as it can be, which obviously the Premier League is the top is the top experience you can have in terms of playing for Chelsea. Obviously, it doesn't look like it's going to be with Swansea, I wouldn't have said, but if he can go to maybe another promoted side that comes up, then I think that would be best for all parties. And I just he's a young player who's come in and out of form, and I don't think he's going to get the game time he needs at Chelsea.
Yeah, I think I agree with every word of that. Isco and Icardi rumours.
Yeah, I mean, these are two players I'd love to see play for Chelsea. I think they're at the very, very top end. I remember we did a video last week and you were getting a bit upset. Sorry. You were getting a bit upset at kind of the level of players I was talking about. I mean, this is the top end of where Chelsea are looking. I think Chelsea... there was reports in Italy last week that Chelsea have made an introductory bid for Icardi at about 60 million, which isn't anywhere near enough to get him. You're going to be looking at another 20 on top of that. And Isco... That's almost like the dream signing for me. I think he's such a great player to watch. He's had a bit of a tough time at Real Madrid. Entering into negotiations with Real Madrid to do anything is a little bit dangerous because they want our two world-class players, if you like. So I said before, I can see us getting a player from Real Madrid in return for Hazard or Courtois. And
that's actually the next question. So following on from that, will Courtois sign a new deal?
No, absolutely not.
So do you think he could be used in a makeshift?
Yeah, I think that he's a player that could well leave. I think Isco is a player that could well leave Real Madrid, and I think, despite his form over the last couple of months in Barcelona away in particular, I still think Courtois is very much in demand from Real Madrid, and it's a direction they'll look to go in. And it's a move that he wants. He's come out at international break and talked about his future. I mean, he's been asked about his future, in fairness, and he said he's contracted at Chelsea next season, which is true. But I don't think Chelsea. I mean, he's one of, if you're looking at assets across the squad in terms of players we can get money for, he's he's one of our 2, maybe 3 world-class assets, and can't afford to let him leave for free, and I don't think he'll be signing a new deal, no. Right. Do you want Courtois to leave Chelsea?
No, I don't want anyone I don't want any of our good players to leave. I never want to be a selling club. I don't even like the idea that certain clubs think they can get hold of our best players. No. There are situations, I think, where it's best for all parties to part company. Yeah. I think that exists sometimes. And I'm beginning to think that Thibaut's perpetual flirting with Madrid, the form that he displayed in our biggest game of the season, our potential of finishing outside the top 4, I think it could be the perfect storm and could result in Courtois leaving. And if it does happen, I won't shed a tear. I don't love Courtois. He leaves me cold. I appreciate he's a good player, but he leaves me very cold. And if we can use him leaving the club as a way of securing the services of somebody like Isco, I'll live to fight another day.
Yeah, so certainly, I'll certainly agree with you there.
Looking ahead now. Oh, these are terrifying questions. If we don't win on Sunday against Tottenham, is the top 4 over? Yeah. I think it is. I think this is our big chance to gain some real ground on them. We've got Tottenham at home and Liverpool at home, and Liverpool at home comes well late into the season. I think it's
our penultimate game.
Yeah, by which time they could already be qualified for the top four, thinking about a European semi-final or something.
Yeah, precisely. So, yes, we do need to. It's such a monumentally big game. I was 1 month old the last time Tottenham won at Stamford Bridge.
Really?
27 years ago. 28 years
28
ago.
years.
I'm getting old, man.
Yeah, 28 years
too
ago.
old.
I know.
And
we must preserve that record.
well, we've got to preserve that record. I'll be taking a swim in the Thames if we don't. But in terms of actually winning the game, I think it's absolutely paramount. And I think, I can't see a way in which other teams drop.
What are we?
Points.
We're currently 5.
Yeah.
So a draw will keep it at 5, which means we're clinging on by our fingernails.
Yeah, I mean, it requires.
If they go 8,
games,
it's 8 games. It's 8 points in 7 games.
Yeah,
we're not going to claw that back.
It's not happening. So it needs
2 points, however.
It needs to be 2.
Needs to be 2. Yeah. And finally, we're going to finish with a score prediction versus Tottenham Hotspur.
2-1 Chelsea.
Weirdly, I did a video with Ben Borman. You can check that video out. It's up on this channel. I love that geezer. I did a video with him, and I predicted that Chelsea would win 2-1. So
Sorted. Let's
hope we're right. Guys, thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please click subscribe. And remember, check out that video with Ben Borman. It went up a couple of days ago. Right, I'm going to have to go now and beat up Adam Boltwood in a bit. Oh.